Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight we speak softly about introduction to allowing abundance without force or effort, grounding the concept of magnetic receiving, not as a goal to chase, but as something your soul already recognizes. There's something so gentle that stirs in the dark, a hush, a warmth that doesn't ask for attention, but wraps you in belonging. Sometimes abundance arrives like that, silent, unworried, patient as dew on granite, waiting only for your noticing. What if you've never actually been broken? What if your softness was the wealth all along? Can you recall the way your body knows to breathe, even when you forget to notice it working? There's a wisdom in ease that doesn't get handed down in checklists or strategies. It lives in the same quiet that cradled you before memory, the space where receiving isn't something you earn, but something you are already doing, just by existing here now. Maybe the world has asked you to strive, to grab, to prove, but here you're asked only to relax one thread at a time. Let your mind tangle and untangle, softer now. Let the pressure to figure it out slide to the floor beside your shoes, not needed for this night's journey. If there is any wealth, any goodness, any long-awaited arrival wanting to meet you, let it come closer without your reaching. What would happen if you simply allowed the beauty to notice you? Let this space be for the layers beneath your thoughts, the part of you that's always known the truth, but has been waiting for gentle permission to remember it. Abundance isn't summoned, it's invited, and the doors of invitation swing open in softness, not force. So as you settle in, let yourself rest beside the question, what is the most natural thing to receive? Notice your own breath, the weight and warmth of your body held by gravity and time, the subtle affirming that you belong, without effort, every single night. Stay with me, let's wander together where presence is all you need, and every piece of abundance already knows its way to you in the dark. There is a certain throb that comes from always reaching, a quiet ache underneath every plan, every hunger for more, every effort to become something new. It lingers in the way your heart hesitates before dreaming, in the silence that follows a hard-won success, in the places inside where celebration comes with a whisper, but never quite with a shout. Sometimes the soul grows tender from waiting for life to cooperate, from holding itself tense and ready, just in case tonight is the night something finally lines up. It's almost a ritual, this leaning forward, as if with enough hope and enough precision, you might coax the universe into perfect shape. But even as you try, both hands outstretched and mind alert for the next sign, there is a bone-deep weariness that seeps in beneath the excitement, a fatigue woven into the reach. How long have you been running, not just toward dreams, but away from what you fear would happen if you stopped? There's a hush that falls over the room when you first let this question in. Would all your effort unravel if you paused even for a moment? Would the thread of worth slip through your fingers if you dared to simply be here, not reaching, not forcing, not changing anything at all? Can you remember when chasing began to feel like breathing? Maybe there was a day when longing was light, playful, sparked by delight, and then, somewhere along the way, the longing became a loop. Now success never seems enough to cure the ache, and alignment feels always just out of reach, a horizon that shifts whenever you get close. There might be a hidden grief in all this striving, the voice that wonders, quietly, if you have missed something precious while keeping watch for the next breakthrough, the flutter of sadness when you notice that even your victories sometimes taste of absence, like a meal missing salt. Still, you keep moving, searching through old journals and new plans for the missing piece, the one thought or practice or insight that will finally let your soul exhale. The ache insists, more is possible. But tonight, in the hush between breaths, you can let yourself question what the ache truly wants. Is it really more, or is it rest? Is the heart's unrest proof of desire, or a call to loosen your hold, to remember yourself softer, emptier, ready to receive? There is a quiet ache beneath every story, beneath all the striving, the collecting, the late nights spent counting stars and what-ifs instead of breaths. There is a tender space in the chest that tightens, softens, yearns, one that beats gently with the knowledge it was always meant to be a home, not a defense. Sometimes, when the lights are low and the world hushes, you can almost hear it, that gentle desire flickering beneath the noise. It isn't loud, it never tries to shout over the day's worries, but it waits, patient as the moon's slow spin, steady as the tides return. Maybe you know this longing. The wish to trust so deeply that nothing outside can unlatch your doors, to let every room within you be open and undisturbed, ready for goodness in any form to wander in, take off its shoes, and stay a while. Perhaps you have felt the ache to become soft again, like damp earth, ready for rain or sunlight. Without bracing for what might not come, there is a pull to remember how stillness once felt before the world asked for certainty, before you were taught to rehearse worry. To build walls from unknowns, the heart remembers a time before it learned to brace itself. Money, love, all the pieces of destiny, how gently they wish to land, how softly they want to be received sometimes. The longing isn't for more but for ease. Not for accumulation but for rest. Not for arrival but for the courage to be a gentle landing place, for all that is yours, for all that was never meant to pass you by. Sometimes it whispers late at night, in the quiet just before sleep. The thought that if you stop trying, everything might fall apart. The ache that sits just beneath the ribs, asking if maybe effort is the only thing keeping you seen. There are old stories here, woven tight by voices that said work is worship, and only those who shine by force are worthy of being found. This fear has many faces. It looks like the tension that lives in your jaw after a too long day, the weight on your chest when you pause long enough to feel it. The world moves loud and quick, and it taught you somewhere along the line that letting go is the same as disappearing. That if you melt back into the river of life, you'll be overlooked, maybe forgotten, maybe lost. You wonder when it began, that first moment you realized softness could turn invisible, that relaxing your hands meant the world might pass by without noticing. Is that why letting go feels like death, even when you're safe? The body remembers what the mind was taught: push more, prove more, hold tighter. All the while, a deeper part of you aches to be held without the tightness, to be loved without the performance. It's not just about being seen, it's about being real. Sometimes the old conditioning says if you're not producing or fixing or perfecting, you don't matter as much. That love or ease or arrival has to be wrestled from the arms of the world. No one said it out loud, but you saw who was praised and who was overlooked. The lesson carried itself into your bones. Being visible became a kind of armor. Doing became a shield. You lie here now, feeling that too vivid hum below the surface. The wanting to rest and the fear that rest might cost you everything you've gathered. If you loosen your grip, who will remember you? If you stop forcing, what if life simply forgets your name? This is the ache you quiet every night, the ache that says the world only feeds the hungry, only finds those who shout the loudest. In this space where your body rests and your heart listens, you are allowed to notice it. You are allowed to feel the way's force became a habit, inherited or learned. The fear isn't weakness. It is the echo of a world that forgot how to see the quiet ones, the gentle ones. But here, where nothing is demanded, it is safe to breathe, safe to be. There's a rhythm in the dark, underneath sleep, where the mind returns again and again, tugged by some nameless need to matter more. An old, familiar ache whispers with every breath, maybe you recognize it. The ever-present hum beneath your ribs, asking if your work truly proves your worth, if your effort stacks up into something solid enough to be loved. There's a pattern here, worn into the walls of your being like fingerprints smudged on glass. The quiet expectation to keep moving, to keep producing, to keep holding everything together just to be enough. Sometimes it feels like you're living as a question no one ever answers, always waiting for an achievement, a sign, a word that finally settles the doubt. Sometimes the urge to push comes as a rush behind the eyes, a pressure that fills your lungs with doing, without ever letting you rest. There is a loop here that cycles through nights like these, looping through thoughts that start as gentle reminders and harden into rules you can't remember agreeing to. Be useful, stay ahead, don't stop, don't break. You might notice how restlessness rides your heartbeat, how even softness can feel dangerous, like slipping underwater when you've only ever learned to swim upstream. There's a hunger to be seen, but also a fear. What if stillness makes you invisible? What if softness is mistaken for weakness? In this loop, output becomes identity, and the soul grows tired of earning, of being measured in units of effort and praise. This ache is not laziness or lack, but the memory of some other way of being, buried under years of proving and striving. If your spirit aches at the end of the day, if your body curls around a hope it can't quite name, know that you are not wrong for yearning to stop. You are not lost for wishing life could quiet itself, for longing to be chosen even when your hands are empty. If you pause here in the hush, if you linger with what aches under the habit of doing, maybe you'll discover a tenderness waiting, not to be fixed, but simply recognized. This is where the pattern begins to loosen. This is the first unraveling, the gentle exhale before you finally remember. You were worthy before you did anything at all. There is a quiet way that truth mates you, not in the moment of fighting for it, but in the breath after surrender. The world taught you to chase and hustle, to measure yourself by what you could prove, accomplish, or convince. But what if none of that determined your worthiness? What if everything that truly resonates with your soul is on its way simply because you are the signal, already transmitting? Even now, it matters in a way that can soften your chest and let your jaw unclench, because the effort to win love, safety, abundance, it weaves tension through your nights and makes your heart forget its natural pace. But here, beneath the noise, is a remembering that the world already pulses in response to the real you, not the masked or striving you. Like the tide moving for the pull of the moon, like a favorite scent finding you in a crowded room. Or how a song you need to hear somehow appears on the radio just when your spirit needs a sign. All of this happens quietly, not because you earned it, but because you call it forth by being. This is not a lesson you must study, it is an ancient reunion. It is the way rain chooses to nourish open hands, not closed fists. It's the sunlight warming you through a window, even before you remember to ask for it. Or that moment a small kindness finds you on the hardest day, a smile, a word, a gentle gaze not requested, but received because you are here. It's all resonance. It's all memory, the universe remembering you as you remember yourself. None of it has to be earned. It only asks that you rest in your own signal, that you allow the right things to find you, just as you are. Receiving is less about waiting for something gentle to arrive, and more about leaning in, opening up the part of you that aches to participate. There is a myth that to receive is to step back, to close your eyes, to be so still that the world must come and offer you all of itself. But even the rivers have to shape themselves around stone, and the wind still seeks the branches willing enough to sing. To receive is to be both the door and the invitation, a living breath inside possibility. It matters because in that soft willingness, the ache inside your chest softens, and you stop folding your wings just to fit in spaces that require you to hold your longing apart from your hands. When you allow yourself to participate, however gently, you discover that life is curious about you too, that it longs to pour into your empty places, not out of pity, but out of shared delight. There is mischief in the way a sunrise sees your open window and sends light in, not to judge the darkness, but to offer warmth wherever it might be met. And you are that window. You are the one life looks for when it wants to witness its own reflection, softened with hope. Sometimes, participation looks like letting your laughter spill past the old embarrassment, just because the moment holds you lightly. Sometimes it's the hush between words, when you let yourself be held by someone's kindness, even if you don't know how to ask for it. Sometimes it is the whisper in your mind that says yes to beauty, even when your heart suspects it doesn't deserve it yet. Every time you allow yourself to participate, even if your participation is nothing more than a breath, a tear, a quiet desire unspoken, you welcome a different flavor of abundance. You remind life that you're still here, awake enough to risk receiving. There is a breath between longing and becoming, a moment so quiet, it barely registers in the daylight. In the thick hush of night, something deeper opens, not with effort, not with striving, more like the soft unfurling of a petal that knows morning will come, whether or not it tries. It matters because the old idea is loud, that you must become magnetic by wanting harder, wishing more. But the heart knows another current. What if the strongest signal is the one you transmit just by being, not by reaching? The soul's pulse, that silent code beneath words and fears, the one that calls back what it recognizes in itself. Imagine a window cracked open on a warm night, and you, somewhere in the gentle dark, surrounded not by what you chase, but by what already matches the hum of your being. The scent of night-blooming flowers carried in by the breeze, the way streetlights collect softly on skin, reflecting something luminous inside. A cat curling up in the hollow of your ribs, drawn not by command, but by the warmth that was simply there. It is like the river that carves valleys over centuries, without once declaring intention, always reshaping the land according to its essence, never seeking permission to belong. Or the way a honeybee circles blooms it believes holds sweetness, not by logic, but by resonance sensed in its core. Or how children drift instinctively toward laughter, to rooms where belonging is a feeling, not a transaction. And so, without forcing, you return to the state of simple resonance, becoming the very wealth you yearn for by noticing what you already are beneath the ache, beneath the wanting. In this space, the world rearranges gently in your direction, not because you willed it, but because you remembered your own true signal and allowed it to be heard. There is a hush that settles deep inside, the kind only heard at the closing of a long, mysterious season. It sounds like the slow exhale after winter's last snow, like the gentle hush of the sea slipping back from tide's edge. You have walked through the ache of wanting to hold it all together, the worry that every weather meant something fractured at your core. Softly now, you feel the places where longing has softened into patience, where the tides move in you but do not carry you away. It is easy to imagine that change means separation, but even now, every shift that has passed through your life has left its gentle trace. A secret knotted in tree rings, a memory pressed into the quiet between heartbeats, the slow reveal that beneath it all, nothing has truly been lost. As you rest into this moment, let your breath become memory and prophecy. Let every inhale echo the possibility of spring, every exhale the wisdom of letting go. Time's gentle spiral is not something to master, but something to be moved by. Falling leaves, rising moons, sleeping branches, all have witnessed the fullness of you. Can you remember how the tide doesn't erase the shore, only teaches it new shapes to hold? In the pattern of days and seasons, in the hush before rain, in the shift of wind against your windows, is the proof that integration was never about perfection, but belonging again and again to what is. Maybe the first true wealth was always your quiet returning, the recognition that no winter lasts forever, no summer can burn out what is rooted in your depths, and when you wake, even if it is to storm or stillness, you wake as someone loved, someone who breathes the truth of all their seasons, tide after tide, breath after breath, day after night, belonging to yourself again and again. Let the day melt in gentle layers. Feel the quiet become a blanket. Light as breath, soft as dusk. There is nothing left to do, just this moment where your body remembers how to let go. Sense the weight falling from your chest, the way the night air smooths what thought once tangled. Imagine a golden hush, warm and alive, nestling around you, the color of honey, the feeling of being held without agenda. Every small muscle relaxes. Your hands open not to grab or earn, but to receive what has always belonged to you. The bed beneath you is a steady shoreline. Each inhale rises like a gentle tide, bringing in everything you are ready to keep. Each exhale, a quiet release, makes room for more, for safety, for peace, for the silent knowing that you are woven of worth. Picture gentle light from the center of your being, pulsing out quietly. It reaches, then gathers, drawing in all the sweetness you forgot was yours, the right to rest, the courage to receive the innocence of letting joy find you instead of searching for it. The truth that nothing in you is unworthy of care. Feel your heart become a soft magnet, drawing in ease, abundance, laughter, shelter, not as a result of effort, but as your natural inheritance. The world is not asking you to prove, but to remember. Allow every part of you, tired, hopeful, tender, to be filled with the trust that you belong here, in the lushness of being alive, in the quiet balm of knowing your needs will meet you before you even call for them. Let these words drift through the room, gentle as rainfall, becoming true as you dream. I am safe to receive all that nurtures me. My worth is woven into every breath I take. I am a magnet for gentle abundance. It is peaceful to allow, peaceful to rest. Softness opens doors that force could never touch. Wealth belongs to my spirit, even when I am still. I trust the flow of my own deserving.